Hi, I'm Corinne Blackstone and welcome to my craft room. I'm so happy to have you here today. In today's video, we're going to be working with UV resin and glitter to make our very own custom safety eyes. Now, if you're unfamiliar with what these are used for, these are used in crochet and knitting or even sewing sometimes to make little eyes for characters, designs, whatever you're making. So I'm going to show you how easy it is to take these and make your own custom designs. Now, I'm going to link some of my favorite eye suppliers down below, so make sure you check those out. Clicking my links and shopping through them doesn't cost you any more money. It just helps me earn a little bit of commission so I can keep making these free videos for you. Now, if you're not somebody who does work with crochet, knitting, or sewing, these are also a great way to make some extra money. The eyes are really inexpensive and the products to make them are also extremely inexpensive, so you can really profit pretty high on making your own custom safety eyes. Now, there's lots of ways to do this, but this is my chosen way that I've used for years, and I absolutely love it, and I've finally gotten around teaching you all how to do it. Now, you'll need a few supplies. You're gonna need eyeballs of some sort, whatever size you want. I use big ones for this so you can see it better. You're gonna need glitter of your choice, whatever color, design, style that you wanna use. You're gonna need a UV light. You can either use a UV flashlight or one of these nail lights, which are great as well. And you're gonna need some UV resin plus some sort of thing to move your resin around. I like using this little silicone, the spatula, but you can use like a popsicle stick or whatever you've got. You don't have to go out and buy this, but this is really helpful because you never have to throw it out. You can just wash it and these UV resin comes right off. So without further ado, let's get started. We're going to be using really big safety eyes for this, just so you can see a little bit better, but you can do this with any size eye. I believe these are 40 millimeter. I'm going to link some of my favorite eyes down below for you, but you can see we've got these. Now I'm going to keep the plastic kind of covering on them for this portion. I'm going to be using UV resin for this, but there are lots of ways to do these, so find the way that works best for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and I'm going to put some UV resin around the eye. I'm not putting a ton down, and I'm going to do one eye at a time. I just find that works better for me. Now what you want to do is spread this UV resin out, and I'm using a silicone spatula situation, and you want to go all the way to the edges but not allowing it to spill over. Now, UV resin is a fairly sticky substance and it does tend to hold its shape, so getting it all the way to the edge and not spilling over isn't super hard. You just need to be really careful. You also want to be sure that any of the plastic from these eyeballs is not going to get on the UV resin, so a lot of times I'll just pull it back a little bit. I just want to be careful so that I don't accidentally scratch them, because I would be sad if I made these eyes and then they ended up all scratched. So I'm just going to push this resin out to the outside of the eye using this little spatula. And I just go in little circles, kind of pulling from the center and then pushing it out to the edges. Now I'm going to take and look at it in the light here. I'm going to move it around and just make sure that every piece is covered all the way out to the edge. I think there's actually a little piece of plastic over here that I need to pull back. So I'm going to go ahead and do that just to make sure that none of that plastic sticks. And then I'm just going to kind of move it around and look at it. I see a little low spot right there. Now I want to let this sit for just a second so that it can kind of self-level itself. So I kind of tap at this a little bit. I just wait a moment and it'll usually self-level pretty quickly. Then I'm going to get my glitter. Now move my other eye out of the way. I don't want to get any glitter on that just yet. I'm going to use this glitter from Starcraft. This color is tubular, and I'm going to use the shaker side. Now you can definitely put this in a smaller cup if you want to, but I'm going to put it just over this paper. That way I can catch any glitter. And I'm just going to sprinkle my glitter on, and I'm going to go slow so that that glitter can sink into that UV resin. And I'm just going to sprinkle it in. Now, like I said, lots of ways to do this. I've definitely done it where I've mixed in the glitter into the UV resin, but I find that I have a hard time knowing how much resin I'm going to use. So I don't like to do that unless I'm doing like a bunch of the same color eye. If I'm just doing like a set for one thing, I don't like to mix my glitter in. Now you can see I don't have a lot of glitter on this just yet. I want to allow this glitter to soak into the UV resin just a bit before I commit to putting more on. It can take a second to soak in, just give it a moment, and then I go in with a heavier layer of the glitter. I like to give it a light layer that sinks in and then a heavier layer for our next. Now you may end up with like some glitter on your hands. You can make little holders for these eyes too, with just something as simple as some cardboard. You can do this with like a piece of wood. You can drill some holes into it, just kind of like those eye jigs that help you put the safety eyes on. You can make one for creating safety eyes too. All right, now I've got quite a bit of glitter on this eye. It looks pretty well covered. I'm gonna grab it by the little handle and I'm just gonna get some of that glitter off my hand. I'm gonna let this soak in for just a minute, and this is where having something to hold your eyeball will come in handy. I don't actually have anything sitting right here, so I'm gonna have to hold it myself, but I'm gonna hold it for just a couple of moments, let that glitter kind of sink in, and actually it'll sit just fine right there. So again, I'm gonna allow that glitter to penetrate into our eyeball, into that UV resin. That way it sinks down in. And then I'm gonna show you how to cure your resin and make sure we have enough glitter in it as well. If you watch in this clip closely, you can see that glitter moving around and sinking into the UV resin. This just helps give you a much smoother finish. Once I've let this sink in for just a few moments, I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of give it a little tap. I just kind of want to make sure that that glitter has spread around enough. And then I'm gonna just take a look at it through the other side, make sure I'm happy. I'm pretty happy with it. I can always add another coat if I'm not when I'm finished, but I do think that that looks pretty good. So now what I want to do, I'm going to move the UV resin completely out of the way. And you can do this with a lot of things like a nail light, but I just use a little flashlight. And this is a UV flashlight. You can see the purple light. And all I want to do is cure this resin. So you just take the UV light and you shine it on your resin, and you usually need to shine it for a couple of minutes, especially if you're using a flashlight like this. So a lot of times what I do is I just kind of put the flashlight as close to it as I can, usually just leaning it onto that post, and I will hold it here. But like I said, you can use a nail light as well, which usually have timers, but I just like to use this flashlight for this process since these are pretty small. Now once I've allowed that to cure for a while, it should be good to go. I usually will take it and kind of tap it off a little bit or shake it just to see if there's any loose glitter. Then I'm going to peel this off so you can see it better, but normally I would leave it on. But you can see now you have this gorgeous blue eye. Now you can definitely add a black paint behind it, a black glitter behind it if you want to. It just depends on what color you're going to put it on. When I don't know what color I'm going to do, I will paint the back black, but for this one, we're not going to do that. We're going to actually add an additional layer of the UV resin. So again, I just kind of do like a double circle around the post, and then I take my little spatula and I'm just going to press again, just doing the outside, like pushing the UV resin out to the edge of our eyeball. Now I do want to be careful when I do this, and I want to just make sure I'm not like getting it over the edge. I want to make sure I'm trying to keep it fairly smooth, and I want to just gently place this all the way to the edge. So I'm just pressing out this UV resin all the way to the edges, and you want to try to keep your eyeball really, really level when you're doing this, because if you don't, the UV resin can run off of the sides. So I'm just going to go ahead and get this all to the edge. And again, I'm just kind of watching to make sure that it's all the way to the edges. I'm pretty happy with that. I think that looks pretty good. Now again, I'm going to set it down, but I am going to try to hold it level because there is a little too much resin on this one, I think. I'm going to try to hold this one level. I'm going to go ahead and UV light it for a while, and that'll cure our resin, and then our eyeball will be done, and then you just do a second eye doing the same thing. So I'm going to go ahead and get this one cured, and when we come back, I'll show you what both eyes look like. While we do eye number 2, let's discuss a few things about UV resin. I would recommend wearing gloves, especially if you have sensitive skin. I don't tend to get the UV resin on my hands when I do these, so I don't usually wear gloves. I find for me it's a little uncomfortable, but I would recommend it. And also, you want to make sure that you do this in a well-ventilated area. UV resin does have a pretty strong smell, and it is definitely something you want to use with well-ventilated area. Now, in this video, I did have my window open, and I do have a little exhaust fan that runs when I'm working on things like this. And you just want to make sure that you're using proper tools and ventilation. So just make sure you stay safe while using the UV resin. I'll link everything down below, but I think these eyes came out really beautiful. Now you can always use acrylic paint as well. If you're uncomfortable using UV resin, acrylic paint is a great option that works pretty well for making eyes. You can definitely get glitter paints, metallic paints, all sorts of great stuff that you can play with. I highly recommend picking up some of the less expensive eyes, which I will link down below so that you can try out different colors, try out different things, and see what works best for you. If you have any questions, please let me know in those comments down below. I'm always happy to answer those for you. Be sure you're subscribed here, that way you don't miss out on any fun DIY content. Happy crafting!